Hey, Growing Zone kids, it's Pastor Jason. You know, if you've hung around the church long enough, you would have heard probably many times somebody say that God is holy. We say it often at church. God is holy. Well, have you ever stopped to think about what that means? What does it mean that God is holy? Well, one way that I like to think about it is this. You know, there's nobody else like God. God is the only one like himself, right? And so in that way, he's totally different from everybody else. And this is an easy way that we can think about God's holiness, the fact that he is different from anybody else. Think about it like this. You and I, we can only be in one place at one time, but God can be everywhere. You and I, we're only so strong, but God can do anything. And you and I, well, we're only so smart, but God knows everything. So in this way, God is holy because he's different. You know, the Bible also talks about how God's people are supposed to be holy. Does that mean that we're supposed to be as smart or as strong as God? I don't think so. What I think it means is that God's people are supposed to be different. Just like God is different, God's people are supposed to be different. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we should all wear t-shirts that say, I'm a Christian, I follow Jesus? Is that how we're supposed to be different? Or maybe we should all grow mustaches, and then the world will know that anyone with a mustache is a Christian? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think being different means looking different with what we wear, really. I think being different means what we do and how we live our life. I think the Bible tells us that Christians are supposed to be different in the way they live and the way they love and the way they are obedient to God. You know, I know being different is not always easy. What if one day you showed up to school and that day everybody in the class was using words that you know were not honoring to God? You'd feel weird. You'd feel that you were the only one who's not using those words, and you might even feel a little pressure to use those words too. But you know, sometimes doing the right thing is doing the different thing than most people are doing. And we as God's people, we're supposed to honor God even if everybody else decides that that's not what they're going to do. We are supposed to be different because we are supposed to be holy. In fact, at the end of the chapter that Pastor Mike is preaching on today, God says that. God says to the Israelites, you are to be my holy people. So we should probably ask the question, why don't people do what God wants them to do? Why do people not want to honor God? Well, you might have heard me talk about this before. It's because of sin. Everybody, thanks to Adam and Eve, they were the first people who sinned. Everybody, thanks to Adam and Eve, have sinned, and we've all said no to God. That's one way I like to think about sin, is saying no to God. When God gives us rules for living and things that are good for us, and we say no to them and do our own thing, that's called sin. And the bad news is that everybody has sinned. I've sinned, you've sinned. Everybody at one point has said no to God. And that means there are lots of people on this earth who are doing the wrong thing. And sometimes we can find ourselves in situations where lots of people are doing the wrong thing and we need to be different. We need to be holy. And how are we different? Well, if you are a Christian, that means you've said yes to Jesus. You've said yes to accepting the fact that Jesus died on the cross for your sins. He died on the cross to take them all away, to forgive you of your sins. And when Jesus does that, and when you believe in him that he did that, he gives you a new heart. And this new heart makes us want to do the right thing. This new heart makes us want to be holy. This new heart makes us want to obey God and know the joy of obeying God. And so our job as Christians is to say yes to God, even if everybody else is saying no. Our job is to be different and obey God. And hopefully the world, your friends and your family and people around you, will see that you say yes to God, that you would rather obey God and honor him than do the wrong thing, even if everybody else is doing it. And hopefully they'll see that and they will want to say yes to Jesus too. And you'll have an opportunity to share with them what Jesus has done for you. And maybe they'll say yes to Jesus. And then maybe they will join God's people and they can be different and holy as well through Jesus. You know, Pastor Mike is preaching on the Israelites, and this is exactly what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be different. So when God's giving the Israelites all these laws, he's telling them, I don't care if all the other nations live in a different way. I want you guys to live like this because you're my holy people, says God, and you are different than the rest of them. And so as the people of Israel honor God and worship God and show that worshiping God is joyful and it's the only way to live life, hopefully the nations around them will see that joy and they will want to worship God too. And so, it's our job today as Christians to say thank you for Jesus for dying on the cross for our sins and asking him for his help to say yes to him so that we can be different, that we can be holy, being obedient to God so that the world will see us and they would want to trust Jesus too.